There's a lot to consider when meal planning, but now your plan can include restaurant-quality meals from award-winning chefs every week. If you haven't checked out Cook Unity already, they're the most convenient way to get a wide variety of affordable, restaurant-quality food from award-winning chefs delivered to your door, not your neighbor's, yours. Go to cookunity.com/BCC or enter code BCC before checkout for 50% off your first week. I personally love Cook Unity, top shelf quality. Haven't used that term in a while. We all know why. I ordered the crispy tilapia over Greek salad with roasted broccolini and brown rice. Love it, right? Okay, so Greek salad is the thing that I eat all the time. However, I needed to switch it up. So I needed something familiar, but also different, right? So that's why I got the crispy tilapia. Super yummy. Absolutely loved it. It was so convenient. Delivered to my front door. And so I don't have to go to the grocery store to break my routine. You understand that feeling, right? Make the best meal plan ever with the convenience, chef-level quality, and endless variety of Cook Unity. Go to cookunity.com/BCC or enter code BCC before checkout for 50% off your first week. That's 50% off your first week by using code BCC or going to cookunity.com/BCC.
Welcome to the chain. This is the BCC Club. We're your hosts. I'm Kendahl.
And I'm Sarah Schauer. Where each week we go down, this is the BCC Club, where each week we go down an internet rabbit hole. This is not specifically an internet rabbit hole this week, but we do have a guest in the studio. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Hi, my name is Rachel Scanlon. I'm so glad to be here. I'm a comedian, I'm a podcaster, I'm gay as fuck, and I cut my hair a little too short and I'm a little insecure about it.
It looks so good.
That
looks really, really good.
Thank you so much.
It looks good. Happy Pride.
Happy Pride. Oh my God.
God. Can you believe it?
It's just so nice to be
are.
proud for one tiny month.
I know.
And then I go
know.
back to shame.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ooh, do you feel a lot of shame?
Constantly. I'm kind of like, it's coursing through my body. I was raised on shame, as you know. Religion, trauma, the Midwest.
Yeah.
But June, no shame.
Exactly.
It all goes away.
Yeah.
We're so excited to have you here.
Thank you.
You just had a special come out.
Wait,
I did.
1 second.
You have to
sorry.
plug.
We
I didn't
said
have a
this
special come out until you guys plugged this Patreon
Okay,
thing.
wait till the end of this plug of our Patreon survey, and then we're going to hear about this incredible special. We do have a Patreon survey that you can fill out right now. If you're interested in us having a Patreon, it's linked in our description.
It is, and you can suggest bonus content that we could do for Patreon if you want a Patreon, like, extra episode, maybe like live streams, not shows. That might be hard for some of you. But, bonus content, if that's your vibe, if you want that from us, please fill out the survey below. It'll only take like 2 to 3 hours, minutes. Thank you guys. But we can get back to Rachel now that we've done that.
Woo, fill it out.
Fill it, and honestly, fill it out, you guys.
Yeah.
Please, for the love of God, fill it out.
Rachel, you have a special that just came out. What the heck?
Can you believe what's happening?
Did you feel nervous, excited? When you found out you were going to have a special, what did you feel?
Well, I was like, are you sure?
Yeah.
I mean, I had been doing stand-up for 10 years, and they were like, this offer came in to do an hour-long special, and I, weirdly enough, a long time ago taped a special that was a little bit shorter, and it was on, do you remember when everybody had a digital app, like a pay-for subscription app, and then a lot of them died? I had a special on one of these apps, and it died, and my special went nowhere, and I was like, okay. And then I was given the opportunity to do another one, and I was very excited, kind of interested to see how it was going to go, and I taped it in 2023, so this special was taped over a year ago.
Wow.
And it came out this week, and it's on, like, Prime and Apple TV and like YouTube and everything. So like you can find it on places. And it's really exciting to see everything kind of come together. I feel like when I had my first special come out, I had the opportunity to kind of introduce myself comedically to people.
Yeah.
And since then I've grown so much. And this special, really what I decided to do is like, I want to introduce myself to people, but I also want to be as gay as humanly possible.
Love that.
And I call it gay fantasy. And it really is like, I think when you're closeted for a long time, you live a lot of things in your mind. You fantasize about like kissing a girl for the first time. You think about what it would be like when you were out. You kind of like live in this own gay fantasy in your world. And I think some of that started to translate to my comedic writing. And I was like, let's fucking lean into the gay fantasy of like, I have this like 20-minute joke of my my female gym teacher, I have a huge crush on this woman. I was like, I have this fantasy of her watching me run a marathon. And I was like, this turned into this huge joke. And I'm like, I think it was just fun. I just had like a really fun time doing
That's
it.
so crazy because now that you're saying that, I have a fantasy about a teacher in my high school. She's my English teacher.
Of course she's your English teacher.
Actually, if she found out about this, I think I would leave the internet. Like, I think I would run. If I ever found out she heard this, I won't say which, but it was clear and she knows. My English teacher in high school, I was in love with her.
It's clear.
It's very clear. She had been divorced, which for some reason was really exciting to me when I found out.
Yeah.
And it wasn't even that I was like, oh, now I have an opportunity. Just someone being divorced feels very hot to me. I'm like,
For sure.
very cool. Very,
I feel
very
like
cool.
divorce is the first step into queerness.
Yes, exactly. I'm like, this is just you're coming out to us.
Yeah.
And I have this weird fantasy that I think about all the time as an adult, that I had a band in high school. I did not have a band in high school, and I cannot sing or play a single instrument. But I have this fantasy, like when I'm walking to the gym and I'll play like Florence and the Machine and I'll pretend that I'm singing this song and that she has like been like, okay, I'll go check out Kendahl's band.
Yeah.
And then she walks in and she's like, what the fuck? She's so hot and good at singing, and she writes all these songs, and then I'm like playing all the instruments. Like I kind of will like run over to the pianist and be like, let me take over. And she's like, she can play all, and I think about this so much, and that's so I just wanted to just tell you that's very universal.
I do feel like a lot of queer people are in love with their English teacher. Yeah. And I feel like this is also, it's interesting. You were like, I would die. You said you would die if she found out.
Yeah.
I want you to know that I did a show in Minneapolis. That's where I'm from. I started testing out this material about being in love with my gym teacher.
Yeah.
Somebody in the crowd went to high school with me, knew that gym teacher, Facebook messaged her. I never knew this happened. The next time, 6 months later, I'm back in Minneapolis, my hometown, doing stand-up. Guess who's in the crowd? Oh, that gym teacher. Okay, I'm doing an hour of stand-up. She's sitting in the front row. I'm sweating. I'm thinking to myself, am I living in like this fantasy is like becoming a reality? Yeah. And she...
Because were you in a relationship at the time?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh yeah, but I was like...
So you weren't like, maybe we will get...
Sure, I'm getting married to somebody and we're monogamous, but my heart belongs to Miss Berglund from gym. There's rules.
Did you talk to her after?
Of course.
Was she
Did you kiss?
reciprocating?
We didn't kiss. I don't know if her sexuality, it's very unclear. And honestly, I don't really want to know. Do you know what I mean? Keep it in this beautiful bliss of who's to say.
Yeah.
But she came up to me. We took a picture. She's crying. She's so proud of me. She's so proud of me. She's crying. I'm crying.
She's gay.
Yeah.
We're all crying.
People don't cry like that.
Right?
On a stand-up show, please.
I had no idea. And it was honestly, and then she whispered in my ear. And so you need to know that I have a podcast as well. On this podcast, it's called Two Dykes and a Mic. I told a story about how I did stand up and Adele was there. And then in the green room, I got to speak with Adele. Okay, so I told that on this recent episode. Cut to me doing stand up. My gym teacher is there. We hug. She at the show leans. I was like, thank you for being here. She whispers in my ear and she's like, I know I'm no Adele, but I'm glad we got to meet in the green room. So she's also a listener.
Flirting with you.
Wait, is she? Am I insane? I'm like,
the way you're telling this, I'm like, this is a smutty novel I've read.
And then she literally licked my ear and took my shirt off. I don't know if she likes me.
I don't know, y'all. I don't know. She told me to drop and give her 20 and then we fucked. What do you think? Is that crazy?
I've never felt inclined to whisper in anyone's ear who I was not like actively trying to have sex with.
Wait, this is kind of opening up a lot. Listeners, do you think that my gym teacher wants it?
Actually included in the Patreon survey.
There we go.
Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah, on the
wild.
Patreon, we're going to have your gym teacher.
Please do. Honestly, I love her so much. She'll post like a picture of me on stage and be like, I always knew that this student was going places. And it is like it's the number one fantasy that the whole reason we're doing it. I'm not doing it for me or the queer community. I'm doing it for Miss Berglund.
Isn't it weird the specific people that you keep in your mind that you're like, this is for them? Because there are people, it's like my English teacher, and then I have one of my old teachers, his wife, who I always thought was really cool. I'm always like, I wonder what she's thinking right now.
Sure.
It's like, what? She's not thinking at all about you. I don't know. Maybe she has. Who knows? I hope so.
I do have a funny story that's not related to fantasy, but it's about a celebrity in a gay moment.
Please.
Okay. So I used to work at this place, and I was talking to my creative director, who's about 10 years older than me, and we're out to lunch, and she's like, Sarah, I think I might be bi. And I was like, oh, that's so fun. What makes you say that? And she's like, well, there was this Christmas party at this office last year in New York. And I was like, I was thinking that she hooked up with someone at the office, like, because there's a New York office. And she's like, well, she was this really, like, older woman. And, you know, we were drunk and we were dancing. We went to the closet. And I'd never, like, I guess, finger banged anyone before.
I guess your lingo. Finger banged.
No, but she said finger banged in the closet. And so I was like, oh, well, that might suggest you could be bi. And so she's like, and I was like, who is it? Because I was thinking it's someone in the company. And she's like, you might know her. Like, and I don't want to out her. And so I'm not about to out someone.
Sure.
Okay, but I was like, I won't, you know? And then she's like, do you know Joan Jett? Like, the Joan Jett?
Yes.
Her first only gay experience was topping Joan Jett in a Christmas party closet.
Oh!
Yes.
That's the coolest thing I've ever heard in my life.
And then when I said that, the reason why I feel comfortable saying that now is I was like, I'm not out. No, you're not outing Joan Jett at all.
No, Joan Jett's out.
Yeah,
she's
like,
been out. That's the original Shane.
She is gay. Yeah, exactly. And so, like, I always thought that was crazy because she's like, I don't know, I'm embarrassed about it.
What office did she work at?
I don't want to say.
Okay.
Sorry, you said celebrity and then, like, gay. And then I guess that is a fantasy because if, like, you were to run into, I don't know, she didn't even put, yeah.
That's so, I love, like, being so removed from the queer community that you're like, this is kind of humiliating. I topped a rock star.
Yeah.
Like, so cool.
I know.
Wow, that is truly insane. So did you start on, no, I already answered my question because you kind of said it. What? You didn't start, what is it? You didn't start on the internet. You started doing stand-up.
Yes.
And then you kind of moved on over to the internet.
Well, as the internet kind of sucks the comedian in, you know what I mean? But I started doing stand-up when I moved out here because that's all I've ever wanted and still all I've ever wanted to do. And then I was finding a hard time getting as much stage time as I wanted. So then you start to produce your own shows as you do. Yeah. And then I started running an open mic. Two Dykes and a Mic was a open mic. That's what the mic was. And I ran it with my ex at the time.
You dated Mackenzie?
No, somebody else.
Oh.
A different woman.
Okay.
And we lived together, and then we broke up on stage.
Is that true?
Yeah.
People probably thought it was, like, part of the act.
Mackenzie, who is now my co-host for Two Dykes and a Mic, was in the crowd the day that we were breaking up at the open mic Two Dykes and a Mic.
What do you mean? And you can just be like, oh, I don't want to talk about it.
No, I'm chill.
What is that? What does that mean? Okay. And how is your communication so that even
would even
came
happen?
up?
Yeah. So this at the time was my longest relationship. I was a comedian. She was also kind of a comedian. We of course worked together at Flappers. Hello, Burbank.
Hello. Jay Leno.
And we were doing it weekly. And then we broke up that day before the mic. And what happened was, so we broke up in private of our own apartment. And I still live there.
Damn.
Just kind of fun to think about.
You've got to let go.
Really to take you guys there.
Yeah.
Really to bring you there.
Yeah.
And we broke up beforehand. And what happened was, because at that time I was toxic, I was an alcoholic, I was much younger.
Okay.
Fuck yeah, you sober?
Yeah.
Dude,
18 months.
Let's hang out.
Thank God. Imagine if the answer was no. Are you sober? No.
Struggling day one tomorrow. Just like,
okay, so we broke up, but because of where I was at in my life, it turned into a bit of a standoff.
Yeah.
It turned into like, I don't care, I'm going to the mic. She was like, well, I don't care, I'll go too. All right, well, why don't we tell him tonight? I don't give a shit. It kind of like it became like a standoff of wits and who kind of gives a shit less, and also like we should tell them.
Yeah.
Whatever.
We should tell them.
Yeah, it's the kids. We gotta tell our babies.
yeah.
So we broke up before, and then we walked to Two Dykes and a Mic, the open mic. Together, and we told everyone on stage that we had broken up. And people thought it was a joke. It wasn't a joke. And Mackenzie was there that night. And she DM'd me and was like, hey, I think you might be looking for a new host. Like, I was just at your mic. If this isn't a bit, like, I'm a lesbian and I would love to host it with you.
Yeah.
And I thought for sure she wanted to fuck me.
Yeah, I would too.
Right, because I'm like, I'm just obviously single now, and now you're sliding in my DMs, outing yourself. I'm like, it's pretty clear what you're looking for. Anyway, she wanted to just be business partners, and we have been business partners ever since.
And how long ago was that?
That was 7-8 years ago.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah, because now you're married? Or do you
I'm
not
engaged.
want
I'm getting married in November.
Oh, right. Congratulations.
Yeah.
Very
Thank
exciting.
You. Yeah, so that was a long time ago, and then we started doing it together as an open mic. And yeah, I've been doing stand-up for so long, and it wasn't up until really the pandemic put a full stop to live shows.
Yeah.
And I was able to shift focus into making things that were more consumable without leaving your house, which kind of puts you to the internet.
Yeah. Well, we are just so interested because I did comedy for years before I was on the internet. And then Sarah in New York, like just doing improv and sketch and everything. And then Sarah was on the internet. And now I feel like for so long, now you're transitioning to stand-up.
Yeah.
So I feel like.
How's it going?
Good. I mean, I took a little break this could sound crazy to read.
That's the hottest thing I've ever heard in my life. And like, enough. I have to go read. Do you wear glasses? It's hot.
No, I don't. I should, but I've read 37 books this year.
That's so sexy.
No, I started doing stand-up when I got sober because I was like, I need something to do.
Yep.
And so then I started doing stand-up, and I have another show coming up, but I haven't been doing it much this year because like I've been reading. Well, trying to become like self-actualized, you know?
Yeah.
Because I'm about to turn 30, and so I'm like, I gotta really, it's like something you gotta do. And
you gotta read. You have to read before you turn 30.
Sober, like Vines, and so then
sure.
And then so I started off on Vine, and then I moved to YouTube and all this stuff, and then when I got sober, I was like, well, real world, and so I got into stand-up, and now I'm in it.
Holy shit!
Yeah. And then Kendall's the opposite. Kendall went to school for this stuff, and
then I during the pandemic was like, this is so much easier just doing it in my room.
Yeah.
And it is wild, but it's so different. Like I feel like the way I would write they all help each other and build muscles and whatever, but the way I would write for not the internet is so different from the way that I write for the internet. So I was wondering if you feel like there's, how has it been for you transitioning into being on the internet more?
I don't even know if I identify as being on the internet more because a lot of the things that I post are from live shows.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to. And honestly, when I feel myself being aware of, this could be a good clip here, this could be a good clip here, I pull away from the audience.
Yeah.
So I really try to focus on doing the show that I'm at currently. Yeah. And if there is something that I can pull from to put on the internet, that's fine. But I without trying to sound as less pretentious as I can, I truly believe that the magic of stand-up is that you can only experience it in the day that you're there.
Yeah.
So I know that being a comedian now means you post clips and that is how people come out to see you. Mm-hmm. But I like to keep that as a teaser to see the best parts of it, which you cannot capture in a clip. Yeah. So trying to just be you like this kind of thing, you like a kind of like a soft butch mullety dyke walking around high energy comedy, then come see the rest. Yeah. But in podcasting too is that is such a different muscle, but I think, I don't know, getting sober, getting more actualized, realizing that you can turn the thoughts or premises that you have that you've worked out in a podcast, take those, write them into beaded jokes with punchlines and kind of use it. I'm trying to use it as a chain in getting more material to do on the road.
Yeah.
So it all kind of feeds one thing.
Yeah.
It does.
Hey, Sarah, what do you want out of weekly meal planning? Guys, I'm literally doing an ad read right now. But I'm glad you asked. I really enjoy routine. I like knowing when to eat and what to eat, right? It's very important to me. However, I don't like routine and that I eat the same things a lot. And you're like, so which is it? And I say two truths at once. I'm sorry. I'm complex. I'm dynamic, right? There's a lot to consider when meal planning, but now your plan can include restaurant quality meals from award-winning chefs every week. If you haven't checked out Cook Unity already, they're the most convenient way to get a wide variety of affordable, restaurant quality food from award-winning chefs delivered to your door, not your neighbor's, yours. Go to cookunity.com/BCC or enter code BCC before checkout for 50% off your first week. I personally love Cook Unity, top shelf quality. Haven't used that term in a while. We all know why. I ordered the crispy tilapia over Greek salad with roasted broccolini and brown rice. Love it, right? Okay, so Greek salad is the thing that I eat all the time. However, I needed to switch it up. So I needed something familiar, but also different, right? So that's why I got the crispy tilapia. Super yummy. Absolutely loved it. It was so convenient. Delivered to my front door. And so I don't have to go to the grocery store to break my routine. You understand that feeling, right? You're like, oh gosh, I make sure to do the same thing every day to kind of retain some sort of sanity and stability. And if I go to the grocery store right now, it's going to throw everything off. Will I get fired? You understand. And so delivered straight to your door. Make the best meal plan ever with the convenience, chef-level quality, and endless variety of Cook Unity. Go to cookunity.com/BCC or enter code BCC before checkout for 50% off your first week. That's 50% off your first week by using code BCC or going to cookunity.com/BCC.
I like when there was downtime between like Vine and YouTube, I like went to Twitter and like I was like the type of person who did like jokes. And I grew my Twitter audience like independently, and so I forgot about those jokes. And then TikTok started up, and I was like, I need some like easy sketches to get my audience back after Vine died. And so I looked at Time Hop, and all the jokes that I'd written for Twitter were formatted like a sketch. And I was like, is this cheating? But it's not. And so I turned it into like a video on TikTok, and so those blew up, and I was like, oh shit, this is just one platform to the other. And so it's
100%.
interesting how you can like recycle stuff. But I do also practice premises here. Like if we're talking about something funny and people in the comments latch onto something, I'm like, there's something there.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
It
so,
is funny how I feel like it always feels like you're cheating from yourself, even though do you know what I mean? Where you'll be like, well, I can't use, I'd be copyright if I'd be copying myself if I did it over here in a different format. And it's like, what is wrong with you? Sometimes it makes me miss the days when it's like, I feel like in the 80s, there'd be a character actor on SNL who was like, I have 2 characters.
Right.
And that's what I do.
And that's my whole
like,
career.
Yeah, that's my whole career. And I made a movie with them. They had a show. We wrote a book that was like about playing that character. Whereas now I feel like it's like, well, I have to have 700 and none of them mean anything, and we just have to keep going.
I think it's interesting too because of it's weird. Like when I started doing stand up, you would do stand up, you would work the same bits over and over again. Maybe you would record yourself on your phone and then pretend to listen to it later, forget, whatever, audio. And then now like I spend a lot of time recording a podcast. The next week I'm watching what I'm recording, writing down clips to send, you know what I mean? And then doing stand up, watching the stand up again to get more clips, and writing on I have like a gigantic whiteboard where it goes from like premise to setup to things with punchlines and whatever, and looking at all of it and trying to be like, I can start to see like recurring themes where I'm like, oh, because I'm starting to realize too, it's like you work so long to get an hour, then you shoot it and it's out, and then you're like, I have nothing. So then you look back and you're like, oh, I'm keep coming up on you. It's like I'll see themes of like being a butch child and shame, and then being like, there's like 2 halves of an experience that you can try to like. I feel like it's always just like there's just like we're all just creating a world of things that we think are funny and relatable, and it's like it works on Twitter, it works on a podcast, and it's like so many different avenues. It's like wherever you can find it. Like jump on board and get on this gay train because you're gonna like where it's going. You know what I mean? It's wild.
Do you feel like there was ever a pressure to, because I feel like sometimes on the internet it's like, well, and I don't know if it's the same for the stand-up world, but you're like, well, I have to be the most general to get to this like big audience, and like I can start niche, and then I'm like, okay, you know, because like I do like character videos on the internet. And I feel like ever so often I'll do something that's very niche for me, but if I want something to like go really big, it has to be like, moms be like, and it's just like, did you make your life? It's like the most general thing that I'm like, this isn't even relatable. This is just like a person speaking, and people are like eating it up because they're like, that's also me. Do you feel like, were you nervous to be like, I'm just gonna go full gay with this? Were you ever like, oh, I feel scared to cut off any other, because I think in a lot of media we've been made to feel a little bit like, oh, there'll be these amazing shows with an all lesbian cast, and then it's like one season, even though it was so good and everyone's obsessed with it. Yeah. Did that scare you at all?
It's interesting. I have so many thoughts flooding through my mullet right now. I feel like it's interesting because, and I don't know if I should admit this or not, I have no gauge of what's gonna work and what's not going to work on the internet.
No, that's so healthy. That's so good.
I have no idea. I couldn't reverse engineer it if I tried, and I have. Like, I don't have the thing of, like, if I go more general, this will hit and this won't. And I think that just comes from, like, I came up in stand-up. Like, I don't know what I still feel very behind on trying to grow an online following because for a long time I was resistant. Yeah. I was like, I don't want to burn my material. I'm a fucking comedian. I don't need, I don't know how to do this. I'm like a millennial. I never,
same.
You know, I'm still have the same handle that I made when I was like closeted. Like, I don't know,
closeted chick 49.
Yeah. I love dudes 666. I don't know. Like Jesus freak 69. It wasn't.
That's a good handle.
It wasn't. Okay, that actually. We should all change our handles.
That's a really good handle.
But like, so for me to be like, this would work better if I was more general, because I don't know how to harness the internet. I feel like I'm trying, especially with like podcast clips and with stand-up clips. But like, truthfully, I fucking try to be as like me as I can. I say a fucking prayer to the algorithm and I send that shit out.
Yeah.
And I just hold on.
But that's the way to do it. That's incredible.
I mean, except for like, I'm still dealing with like the amount of men that hate me is shocking. At first you're like, LOL.
Yeah.
Then you're kind of like, okay, I guess I'm making some waves. You're like, all right, interaction. You're like, who cares? I'm getting interaction.
Yeah.
Then you're eventually like, this is insane. Like the amount of men, and we know people on the internet, but like to feel it every single day for however many days in a row. I don't know if you can tell, I just hit the wrong algorithm recently.
Yeah.
And you're just like, it's insane. So I try to, I don't know, to answer like the second part of the question of like, knowing how gay I'm going to be on stage and feeling like, hey, are you pigeonholing yourself? When I started doing stand-up, I talked exclusively about the queer experience. And this was way before the pandemic, before the Me Too movement. Okay, so people were still booking one woman at a time.
Yeah.
None of them were gay. And when we were gay, it was either like a niche show that was like LOLGBT and a lot of gay men.
Yeah.
And like when I started Two Dykes and a Mic, like the amount of, I've had managers tell me to my face like, hey, don't, like, you can't, or even just talking about gay stuff made you a dirty comedian.
Yeah.
So even if I was talking about dating and didn't swear once, it was dirty. You're not going to get Conan. You're not going to get a tape set. You're not going to work. And I just was like, the only thing, and I was really obviously using stand-up to work through being closeted in the Midwest, the religious trauma. I was kind of like appeasing to a straight audience without knowing it. You know, you kind of go through that phase of when you're a gay comedian of like, is this for me, or am I a gay monkey right now? And you don't know it for a little bit, you know. So like I look back at old jokes and I'm like, oh, I was really working through something. Yeah. You grow past that, and then you realize like the industry now, where you see it's like you can fill theaters. Yeah. Two Dykes and a Mic sells out theaters of queer people that can't get enough content. I couldn't make enough if I tried. Yeah. That's why I love like going on other queer podcasts, booking queer openers, because I can't make enough, and my experience is very limited. I only know what it's like to be my kind of person. Right. Yeah. So like what's beautiful is like I'm almost feeling like the way that it feels so insatiable is like very inspiring. It's a nice way to look back and be like, you guys were all wrong. There is a queer audience. You fucking, I know we keep getting canceled all the time on like on our show. Like, you know, we get one season.
Do?
No, I mean like TV shows only get one season. But in general, if you actually spend time with the queer community, you actually spend time with queer audiences, you will know. I mean, us personally, how many of us are getting a virus on our computer trying to watch that lesbian Love Island show that only airs in the UK?
Oh, yeah.
Don't get me started. I just watched clips. I just watched like 2 hours of clips. I was supposed to be working of the Australian Bachelor a couple years ago. Bisexual.
For the bisexual. We'll do anything for a bisexual.
And I'm like, I don't even know this woman. I don't even like this woman. This woman, I don't know. She's like a Bachelorette contestant. Yeah. And I was like eating it up. I was 100%. Like, please. And to be clear, I'm not saying, I wasn't like, you should be more, you should stop with this gay thing. No, of course, no. I only asked because I think a lot of people feel that way, where they're like, I gotta like be like, it's like, even if you make a gay joke, it's for a straight audience. It's like, okay, well, how could I as a gay person make a digestible joke for straight people? And I think that ability to just be like, well, it's not for them is so like powerful. Inspiring, powerful, and also like those people are there and exist and are really eager. It's why I don't even like the movie Happiest Season, but I've seen it hundreds of times.
No, that movie traumatizes me. Yeah. But we have to. We must.
Have to watch.
Yeah.
I've seen Yellow Jackets. I've watched it through. It's a comfort show for me. It's a bunch of teenagers eating each other. And I'm like, why do I have to keep fucking watching this? Gay people have kissed maybe twice. They're not even the main characters. I really can't. It's sick.
It's all we have. I do feel like we still are. It's weird. Everyone's like, things are so much better now. And they are. There's a queer audience. There's a queer fan base that you can speak to directly. But things are still like, I feel like as a queer person, I am like sucking at a dry teat to like watch queer content. Like it's crazy. And like, I don't know. I just try to be like, however, because especially too, as you keep doing stand-up, you realize like the only things that crush are the things that make you happy. Yeah. So it really has to please yourself. Can you tell I'm sober and working on myself? Yeah. You have to please yourself first. Yeah. And then you can only just say a prayer and hope that it connects to the right audience. Yeah. And if it doesn't, men will threaten your life. And if it does, you get to say, all right, we're all doing something today. Yeah. But you just fucking keep shooting darts at the board until something hits.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel like too, it's not even, like, I don't read that many comments, but I think when I do, it's not even that because people just are like calling me mean names, which just like doesn't really bother me that much.
Yeah.
But I think the more you witness it, it more is just an anxiety about the world in general, where you're like, these people exist. These people are so nuts, and there's so many of them, and they're just like going to the grocery store. Like I'm walking by them, they have children. I'll go to their profile. They're like a dad whose kid is like on the soccer team, and he's coaching it, and he's like calling me slurs on the air. It's just so wild.
Crazy. That's the thing. It's always like 1 Corinthians in the bio with 3 kids, and they're calling you like the worst things you ever heard. But I have a question for you. You said you don't care about it. How do you do that?
I don't. Well, here's what I will say. I think I have it easier because I do characters. So like people don't really comment on me, and like I've pushed back a lot to being more personal. I mean, besides doing like a podcast,
right?
But like, especially when I first started out, everyone was like, "You got to do more personal content because people got to love you. They need to like you." And I was always like, "No, I don't want people to know anything about me." So when people are commenting on me, it feels like there is this bit of separation because they're not like, "You're a bad person." I think that hurts more when I'll like read a podcast comment on one of my podcasts. It's like, "Kendahl seems deeply annoying and uneducated." I'm like, man. That hurts because that's damn true.
Like, no, you're learning.
Yeah.
No, I'm so serious.
Thanks, Mom.
The thing that I've learned from like every book that I've read is that if you have a healthy curiosity about like anything in life, like you're not uneducated. Like that's how you're supposed to be.
And I'm very curious.
Yeah, curiosity is the important part.
Yeah.
It keeps you curious, creative, like wanting to know more. As soon as someone is like shuts off and they're like, I know enough, that's the moment they die.
Yes.
So like, and then the person, just people are idiots. They misinterpreted that.
Yeah, but I think those hurt more. Like I think I'm much more likely to like deep dive on a bad day on my podcast comments than like my regular content because it's not really about me. So I think I have it easier in that way, but I also have been very like early on was like I don't want to read positive or negative comments because some of them are also like in the other way. I think I've seen people who've only gotten positive comments and it's also negatively affected them too, where it's like, I don't need to post a video of me, like a video I filmed in 2 seconds that like objectively isn't very good. And the comments like, this is what is missing from comedy. It's like, I actually don't need to read that because that's not true. And it's not helpful also. So I'm always trying to just like put stuff out there and be like, there it is. But I do go down a Reddit rabbit hole ever so often because also once I start, there's no stopping. It's like I will be searching. I'm then Googling Kendahl Landreth fan edits. There are none. Kendahl Landreth.
You don't know my art. It's just like,
I'm like looking up everything I can to be like, I need to hear what someone thinks about me. But so I really have to stay away.
Yeah.
So it's like an active choice to not read any of it.
I have advice.
Please.
As someone who's been doing this 10 years, well, also, our brain focuses on, like, the negative. And so, like, you see negative comments and they hurt, yeah. But have you ever, like, gone to the profiles of the people who said nice stuff about you? Like, when I'll see, like, negative comments, they hurt. And then I'll see, like, someone who, like, I put effort into this or someone's defending me. I go to their profile. It's someone with a dog, you know, filming their backyard or, like, doing, like, a little clip of, like, making breakfast. And if you do it enough times, you'll see, like, 30 people who are just, like, all across, like, the U.S. or the globe who are real human beings. Like, this is their content. And they saw something in you. You know, and so like, yeah, you'll focus on the negative things, but it's like, surely all 30 of these normal people can't be lying or stupid.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And so like, and some of them like will be smart or have like a lot of followers. And it's like, this person who makes like pretty interesting political commentary, who's well respected, said something nice about me. They wouldn't do that. I wouldn't do that if I genuinely thought someone was like damaging or hurtful.
Yeah.
And so it's like, either you have to, now that you weigh like the negative comment versus all 30 of these people, and like if they were standing before you, you would take the 30 people every time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I also think I have tried to be less. One second, the thought is coming. It was right there.
It's fun. I saw it kind of drop.
And then go out. What was it gonna say? Oh, I think I also try to be. I think what I'm really grateful for in the internet is that it's forced me to be way less precious with what I do make because I just have like no time. I have truly no ability. And like when I first started on TikTok, I mean, before TikTok, it was like I would make a sketch, do 2 passes of edits, send it to my friend, be like, you edit the script, I'm gonna come back.
Yeah.
Then I'm gonna like spend hours on Amazon. Sorry, I don't like Amazon, but I would. And then I would like find the perfect costume, and then I would watch it and I'd edit it, and I'd be like crying before I posted because I was so nervous. And then I started posting on TikTok, and the first couple weeks I was like, my poor roommate, I was like, is this good? Is this funny? And she's like, not really. I mean, you just spent like 2 seconds on it, like chill. And I was so scared. And then it was like over time, this muscle is built because there's so many things that I was like, this is it. This is about to blow everyone's mind, and no one cared about it. And then I'd post something that was stupid and everyone would really love it. And I was just like, oh yeah, it's all that part of the process really isn't for me. And I just put less pressure on each piece of thing I release because I've had to release so much of it. And I do try to just think of it as a job. Like I even though it is something I love, it is my job. And there are a lot of people who are really successful who like nobody, from what I hear, I'm like, seems like nobody likes this person, but they are really killing it. And they're in every single thing and they're succeeding. And it's like, not everyone's going to like you, which I know sounds really cliche, but
No,
you
but that
also
helps.
Yeah, it's like they're even the most successful comedian. In fact, I would say probably all successful comedians, most of what I hear is hate.
Yeah.
I've like never heard a positive thing about them. And I'm like, but man, people are showing up for these damn specials.
It's crazy, right?
Yeah, they're going on world tours. And I've only ever heard, I'm sure it's because I'm also in the comedy community, but I'm like, I feel like I've never heard anyone be like, I love this person.
Right. Yeah.
You know?
Oh, for sure. That's so interesting too. The whole thing. I think it's like too with like queer people on the internet. It's so like I'm just missed that like age bracket of queer people who completely find community on the internet. Yeah. That is where they were like, I'm in, Indiana or whatever. No one is gay here. However, I can go on this place that is on my phone and I find my people. Yeah. So like I try to also something very similar to being like, this is my job. I try to be like, I'm making you something that you can have instead of like, this is me. I'm trying to like, I made you something. You can either enjoy it or not, but I'm trying to separate from like, this is just a thing that I made. Either you like it or you don't, but I'm trying to be like, queer community, enjoy it. If you're all here on the internet, go suck on this for a while. I don't know. Let me know what you think, but it isn't like a direct, you know what I mean? It isn't a direct line straight to me. Yeah. There's like,
I know. I always find it interesting when I feel like I'll hear a lot of people who do comedy or maybe they've done like a character on a movie that was really famous, and then you'll hear them be like, I just hate that people love me for this thing. Like, I want them to love me for me. And I'm like, that's fucking crazy. Yeah. Why would you want that? I would not. I would want the absolute opposite, where I would be like, I actually don't. And sometimes I'm like, well, maybe you don't have like people at your. That's why I like try to make my home life very nice and like something that I value and have good friends and whatever. Because I just like remember watching the Harry Potter tour, and I don't know who it was, but one of the three, they're like press tour.
Oh,
like, sorry.
I was like, did they do live shows?
They went straight to Hogwarts.
Emma Watson and Daniel Radcliffe and Rupert Grint, they still go on tour and they do Q&As. It's really good. But I forget which one of it. They were young too. They were like teenagers, but they were like, yeah, it's hard because like I think people now only know me for this, and it's like I want to be like. I am my own person. And I was like, damn, I would do anything to switch places with you.
No, literally. The more and more, it's like, I don't want anyone to know. And no one will know me. I'm like, you know who gets me? My fiance and my TV. Yeah. That's it.
And your gym teacher.
And Miss Berglund.
That is.
Shout out.
That has not been my route with comedy. I'm deeply personal. These people are watching me detox and they're like, are we getting a new Lego video soon? No, but also,
you like it. I feel like it helps you thrive in it.
So I read mainly about like sociology and cultural anthropology because I realized that originally I got into comedy because, can I like go back a wee bit? My parents never let us like speak in the house, and the only time like you were allowed to speak is if you said something interesting. And so the only way I could say something interesting is if it was funny.
Oh wow!
And so comedy was a defense mechanism. I also moved around a lot, and so how do you connect with people quickly? Comedy,
for sure.
And so when I first got on the internet, comedy was like I wanted people towards me, but I didn't actually want them to know me.
Yeah,
you know. Yeah. So like comedy was like a defense mechanism. But then when I got like sober and went to therapy, I realized what I love about comedy is connecting with people. Yeah. You know, like there is something that they picked up on the joke that I would have never thought to put emphasis on. Or like they, you know, and so it's kind of cool. And also to go back, I have a clear separation of audience interests. When I do sketches, the crowd that shows up from my audience is completely different from the people when I do book reviews and Lego stuff. Yeah. Like they almost are like my like morning crew, like my afternoon, my night.
Wow.
And they're like not used to. They don't really cross as much.
Yeah,
That's fascinating. Which one's your favorite?
Well, to talk about stuff, my book audience, the comedy stuff. So like we all know this, but like a lot of people don't think women are funny. We're not women. We are. We're trying to. Okay, but you understand. And so like I don't know how you identify.
Me neither.
Okay, so like with the comedy audience, a lot of people don't think women are funny. So, but in order to be funny, you have to be smart. And so like my comedy audience loves more what would seem like accidental jokes, like things I fell into, because they believe that I could have come up with that myself. So I don't like to debate with them.
Yeah.
But when it comes to my book stuff, they're the people who ask questions. They're not like, you idiot, you didn't know that this is what. They're like, oh, if you like that, you'll like this. And then my Lego audience, hardcore autism.
Yeah,
Like
that rocks.
they're like, dude, you've got to get out of Legos and get into like Beyblades. And I'm like, so they're more trying to convince me to move somewhere else. And so like it really depends on who I'm interacting with at the time.
Wow.
Fascinating.
That's so cool that like you can have little pockets of fans that fit the thing that you're talking about.
No, it's-
you guys are so diverse in your like content. That fucking rocks.
Oh my God.
Yeah. But also like, I mean, it's like, do you talk about like sobriety?
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you ever notice like there's your sober audience, there's your queer audience, and then there's your sober queer audience?
Yes.
My sober audience, the most unexpected group of characters.
Yeah.
Because I don't usually, when I like make jokes or talk, like I don't usually expect like men in their 40s to 70s being like, but if I'm like, the other day I was gargling mouthwash and this has never happened, but I had this like, like it like made me freak out. And then all the people who came to comfort me, 40-plus-year-old men who are like, went through AA, and I was like, I never see you guys.
Right.
I see you more often. But I was like, I didn't realize how different. You know, you just got to talk to different parts of your audience. Yeah.
It is like you never you put something out. I put something out that was like, oh, lesbians love aquariums, so straight people love zoos. And then I had the zoo community.
Really true.
Okay, it's also very real. It's very accurate, true to form. But then you like, oh, I have like a whole bunch of the zoo community woke up.
Yeah.
The people who work at
Finally
zoos.
they woke up. They've been under a rock for damn years.
They were ignited. It's all the dykes who work at zoos. You know what I mean? The forgotten community of the lesbians at the zoo.
Do you know Lindsay Nicole? Okay, she's a TikTok creator. She moved to YouTube, but she's a lesbian, and she like does like zoology facts. That's her audience.
Holy shit.
And we did a
great bunch of people.
No, it is.
Yeah.
You wouldn't realize. And so like that's also the thing of like, you know how you said like your comedy, the jokes will blow up if they're really general. However, there's general topics in different communities. Like if you want to like really lean into the book community and you make a Colleen Hoover joke, they'll run with it.
Oh,
you know,
for
like,
sure.
You don't even have to know a lot. Just say she's garbage, and they're like, you don't even know. You don't even know. Like,
I sometimes served Colleen Hoover. Like people will post a page on. They'll post pages that you can read on like a slideshow.
Yeah.
I cannot believe this exists. I saw one. I've never read a Colleen Hoover book.
Yeah.
But it was, I guess, at the end, and she was like, it was like he was holding my baby, and he goes, I guess they'd had a baby together, and he was like, the baby looks like you, and she was like, what do you mean? He looks like you. He has those massive balls. And this is a romance novel.
No.
It's not good.
And then he's like, oh yeah, he does have my, and it's like the first time the use of the word balls in any book, I'm like,
tough.
Look up a synonym, please.
Wait, but then I do have a question for both of you. Have you ever made like a joke that you thought was funny, but it blew up in a very niche community?
I did. You okay?
Sorry, yeah, I thought my hair fell out. Well, like, because these always snap. And so I thought it would have, like,
no.
yeah.
I thought my whole hair fell out my head.
Well, like, you have extensions, and it would be like,
You have that in the shower sometimes, you're like, and then you like feel something, and then you're
do
like,
you ever have that?
Not anymore.
I guess no, yeah.
Not anymore.
No, I had a video I did that was like, it was my friend Chaz and I, and we do these videos that are like, you're coming out to your liberal parents, and it's like we played these two parents who were like want their son to be gay really bad,
Hysterical.
but it's supposed to be kind of like, you know, commentary on what it's like coming out as a gay person. But conservatives really do not understand that. So I found that I've actually received a huge conservative demographic, and it was posted on, for some reason, it did really well. It got like 50 million views or something, and it was like being posted to like Fox News had a thing about it, and there was posted like to Trump.net was like, look at the, and everyone was like, see, liberals just can't make comedy like this. This is good comedy. And it was like, and we look so gay in it. It's like so clear to me what it is. And there will be weird moments where like the other day I was at Universal Studios and these two girls came out to me and asked for a photo and I had to be like, oh, I can't. I'm so sorry because they were wearing these like Trump shirts.
Yeah,
like, they
you
were
cannot.
like wearing these like I love Trump shirts. And they're like, we love your videos. And I was like, what fucking videos are you watching that you love? That is crazy. Like, I'm a huge fan. I'm like, you must have only misunderstood one video I made. That's all I could even imagine. But so that was a video that got kind of pushed into a weird
and it was
area.
received well. What about you?
It was received very well. Yeah, people really thought I was finally speaking up for how hard it is to be straight.
Fuck. And you were at Universal on your Harry Potter tour. Okay.
Yeah.
I started doing stand-up. I'm touring around cities. This was like maybe 2 years ago. I started doing jokes about being closeted in my church youth group.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And thinking like, I'm sure some people will relate to it, realizing that that's a massive group of people.
Yeah.
That where like, I'm trying to go back and be like, here are very like moments that made me feel very strongly in one way or another. Mm-hmm. I'm feeling super anxious, super closeted, then being like, that's super funny to write about comedically of those feelings of praying and sweating and being like attracted to Haley, whatever, on all of it. And
Haley
it turned
of the New
into
Testament?
Haley of my youth group, who is my like prayer partner, just sweating in her palms, being like, do you want to wipe off my Ash Wednesday, like cross on my forehead, like all of it. And started doing that material in like different cities and it started being like, okay, it was like a 5-minute joke. It turned into 10. It was like 20 minutes of like kind of youth group, Jesus freak, kind of like closeted in a Lutheran upbringing in the Midwest. Yeah. And kind of like being like, I want to be Jesus. I'm like, how is this going to work? And then like it's this thing that I thought was like a very specific experience. You start doing it on the road, I'm realizing, oh, people know exactly what I'm talking about. Yeah. So then being able to reference the niche things within that, like I can talk about like Larry the Cucumber and how I'm like, oh, my gender is Larry, right? Yeah. People going, oh, like Larry heads out there knowing exactly what I'm talking about. I started singing it randomly. At one of the shows, I was doing a run of like all of the references that people would understand if they know. I went to so many Christian music festivals with my family as a kid. Yeah. I was raised in, we would go to megachurch, we would do the fucking like the trips, the mission trips. Like I know all of it from experiencing it so heavily in my childhood that I started to be like the Jesus of my homeboy, the WWJD, our God is an awesome God. And I'm having theaters of people in the South, in the Bible Belt, screaming along, and I'm like, oh, we all have the same niche trauma, and realizing that is like, it's also I'm like, this is so fucking stupid, but the amount of healing to know that everyone, seemingly everyone that I could possibly tell this material to knows exactly, and then it opens up. It's like that thing of like, you hit a bigger community, but now you can go as niche as you possibly can because they know exactly who that is. So I had no idea that I would turn those little things of being a kid in the youth group into like, it's kind of a large second chunk in my special of just like this kind of like Jesus stuff, which I had no idea people would know exactly what I was talking about. But that was fun to see that.
That's incredible.
But it wasn't really on the internet. I didn't really clip it much. Yeah. That's just like, I just experienced that from hearing so many people sing along. And I was like, oh shit, you really know what you're talking about here. It's crazy.
Man, that is so wild.
Yeah.
That's incredible. When you were talking about the zoo, sorry, but I'm just still thinking, when you were talking about the zoos and how many lesbians work there.
Yeah.
Sometimes there are jobs that I'm like, I should have done that because I didn't realize there were so many lesbians involved in it.
It's the cargo shorts.
Oh, the outfits for sure.
Yeah, I guess National Park tour guide, like ranger would be one. But also,
you'd look good as a ranger.
Fucking hot. Push. I'm this close to getting there. So I don't need any more pushing because then I've always wanted to be an archaeologist, which is not
hot and gay.
It's not gonna happen.
Shorts again.
But I always wanted. I'm like obsessed with dinosaurs. It's like that's all I think about.
You're like I need to wear khaki.
Yeah, and I know dinosaurs are like cool to like now, but I was kind of like always kind of like into it. So I was like talked about it one time on this podcast, and I've gotten so many DMs of women who are like, I'm gay. I like you don't understand like being and I'm an archaeologist. You're taken out to the middle of nowhere of like Egypt or whatever, and it's just you and hundreds of lesbians who are there for 9 months. And all of us have just like are obsessed with dinosaurs.
Yeah.
And that's kind of like all we talk about. And I was like, fuck, damn it. I was just so mad.
It missed. Also, like the amount of women that I've dated that are deeply obsessed with dinosaurs are insane.
I know. You feel special, don't you? And then you're like, oh, I thought I had this thing that was like really cool, and that's not even at all. It's
also
just like everybody.
The allure of an occupation where you spend a majority of your day like not talking, and then especially not talking about dudes.
Yeah.
It's old dinosaurs,
Yeah.
you know?
Yes.
The main thing is like, are they boys or are they girls? We don't know. It's a bones.
It's bones.
Yeah.
It's
And
bones,
you really,
bones, baby.
like you really have a good shot of having one named after you.
That's major.
Like you really, there's so many left to be discovered.
A Kendallsaurus.
Look at you getting lit up about it.
I know. It's just like so. They have so much cool technology now. They have these like crazy microscopes where now they can kind of like tell the color of a dinosaur
Oh yeah.
based on looking at just a bone.
Okay, wait. One thing about dinosaurs, and then I have a question for you. What do you think that they were covered in feathers?
They were.
Okay, see.
Well, not
and
all of them.
Every woman I've ever dated was like, "Did you know they're actually covered in feathers?"
They were covered, and those can be like they still have like those stood the test of time.
The feathers?
A lot of them.
Well, birds.
Oh my god.
Well, birds, but even just like on the fossil, like you'll like there'll be comments. Anytime I go on a rail like this, all the comments are none of that was true.
They're like, no.
These facts are not.
You got it
accurate.
wrong.
I swear though, I read this. I'm reading this book right now about dinosaurs. But it's taken me 6 years because it's so the words I have to look up every single damn word. 'Cause I have
Dense.
no fucking idea what is
Draw me
being
a
said.
picture.
And it has some pictures, but I still am like I don't get it. It's confusing.
Okay.
My question for you: if you were to do something else, what would you do?
I'd work as a copywriter in advertising, or I would be a high school guidance counselor.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
What about you?
You've thought about it.
Oh yeah, I've thought about this. I used to work in advertising, and I love writing scripts that are incredibly short. So that's that. Also, high school guidance counselor is like, these aren't backup plans. These are things like if I give up, and then like, well, give up this guidance counselor because I didn't finish college, and to be a therapist, you gotta finish. And so, but guidance counselor, you've got to finish college, and I got 4 classes left to take before I can advise the youth. Because I think children are our future, but I don't like younger kids. Older kids, they're like fine, you know, and I think they're funny when they're sassy. And also, I come from a deeply disturbed background, so I can deal with that.
Yeah.
And also, like, I'm an alcoholic. We talked about this in the last episode. Well, we talk about this all the time. But, like, I've been to, like, AA meetings, and a lot of my friends are, like, in active or not active addiction, and they're kind of dicks sometimes.
Yeah.
So you just got to know to not take it personally. And so I could just easily translate that to a high school environment. And also, I was, like, I have autism and, like, ADHD, and, like, in high school, no one actually gave me help. You know, like, I didn't even know, like, you had to apply for college until, like, it was almost too late. I thought it was just, like, someone, like, chose you from a lineup, you know? And so I would help out the kids who don't know to ask or who are gay or something like that. But the thing is I would, I just think kids are cool.
That's so fucking awesome.
Yeah.
What would you do?
I feel like I would like to be a gym teacher's husband.
Interesting.
Like,
Any specific one?
just one in mind. I think I could crush that. I don't know. It's hard. I think it's like, I feel like I don't know enough jobs because I was always just working in the service industry.
Yeah.
So like, I don't know. I'm like, my skills are so limited that I'm like, I can't draft an email. So I wouldn't be any good on the computer. Maybe I would like to have,
Do you like to dig?
I could dig.
I got a
I'm
job
strong.
for you.
I do feel like I could be a good like what is it? Like maybe I would like to what do the rich people do? Have a foundation that gets queer people outside. I want to take gay
some
people outside.
Eviction?
Like a hiking
No, yeah, maybe a hiking group.
Do you like to hike?
I recently when I got sober instead of doing stand-up.
Wait, are you one of the gays who hikes? The sober gays?
Worse. It's worse than hiking. I'm a runner.
Oh, I thought you were going to say rock climber.
I thought you were gonna say rock climber too.
Oh my God.
I give rock climber a lot, but I haven't even tried. I'm sure I'd be good at it on belay, but I would like to be. I think I want to figure maybe a ranger where I can do. I want to be. I think a lot of queer people. Sometimes I feel like straight people think that they can own nature, or like there's like barriers that get people that keep like people inside socioeconomically that I feel like I would like to get more like poor gay people
on a trail
on a fucking mountainside. You know what I mean? Just
To help you narrow down, I'm going to be a guidance counselor. Why do you like comedy?
why do I like comedy
Yeah.
as an art form?
Yes.
I like it because I think it can connect and like change. I think it can change people.
Do you feel that when you do stand-up?
Yeah.
Okay, and so then why do you like doing the podcast?
I like doing the podcast because it can actually reach more people than stand-up can.
Yeah. So like, I mean, why can't you do anything with like therapy, because it's the connection and the getting outdoors, right? Like,
Yeah.
what's that called? Where you like, it's a therapeutic retreat? I don't even know if that makes sense.
We could run a retreat.
We could absolutely run a retreat.
You're very personable. You like the outdoors.
Yeah.
You like community in a healing environment. You know, you can't do ha-has, hee-hees, but then people are still looking to you
getting
for-
the thing from it.
Yeah.
I like
Adult
that.
summer camps are apparently
You
becoming a
could
thing.
do an adult summer camp.
Oh my! I've never heard of this. There's an adult.
Apparently,
summer
I
camp?
really want to go really bad.
Yeah, for sure. Dig. Write a letter.
Yeah, they're like, she hasn't been in any of the activities. She's just been digging a big hole.
A sapphic adult summer camp?
That is gonna be so much drama. That would be a nightmare.
What happens? You get to relive something you didn't.
Yes.
That could be fun.
And there's an archaeology thing, and then there's like
That's
outdoor
just for
sports.
me.
For sure. Also, I feel like so many queer people want to go back when we were closeted and be like, oh, I wish I could do this as who I am.
But you know what? The talent shows would be insufferable.
Oh my God, so much poetry. Oh my God.
I would not be able to sit through it. I would be like, not a single person has done a routine, a dance routine. It's just been a
exactly.
lot of deep spoken word.
So much reading.
No, that sounds incredible. I feel like you'd be good at that. You could give like camp counselor
You
vibes.
do give,
That
yeah.
rocks.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's hot. I like that.
So why haven't you gotten into rock climbing?
That's a great question.
Yeah.
I feel like I am too strong for it.
You'll break
I
the
think,
wall.
Yeah,
People, I don't want to hurt that wall.
yeah.
And I feel like it's also to be harnessed like that is very erotic, that I feel like I would need to do it in private first. Do you know what I
You
mean?
rock climb in private?
Yeah, I would like to have my own personal REI to get in there.
You know how you can go to like sex stores and get like a dildo? Yes. Like what if there was like a
Imagine we're like, oh, what?
what if like Adam and Eve had like a private rock climbing wall?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, just like to practice at home instead of like that X thing that you can strap yourself to.
Yes,
Yeah.
I have fucked up against a rock climbing wall, which is the closest I've come to rock
Where?
climbing at a Lifetime Fitness. They're open 24/7.
And you've had sex in one of those?
Yeah, tiptoed in. The girl had a pass, and then the rock climbing was closed, but so there was nobody there. The light was
Wow.
dim. You know, it wasn't like it was being used.
Yeah.
That was actually my opportunity. That's why I feel like I need to rock climb alone.
That's what it
Yes.
was. Oh, there we go. Yeah, you're like, it's just so sexual.
I'm
You're
like, I need to be
yeah.
alone with that rock. Like, oh, right, because I fucked on one. Okay, interesting.
Wow, we got somewhere.
got somewhere.
It took 54 minutes,
But we did it. I do
Yeah.
feel like, yeah, it is. Do you guys rock climb? I know it's taking over the niche.
No.
Or the queer nation. I
I
think,
don't want to, but I
don't know. It's so, I'm like, I like to.
you have it. Look at you.
I've got it, but I want to be outside. And then I weirdly, as I'm getting older and more sober, I have a late in life fear of heights. I've never been
Man.
afraid of heights. And then I just
Yeah.
like, I'm talking like, I was in Toronto doing a weekend of shows, and I brought my fiance, and I was like, let's go up. You know, Toronto, it's got that fucking diller in the
needle?
sky. The needle
Yeah.
thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was like, I went in, and I fucking panicked in the elevator.
Really?
Interesting.
Never have panicked in an elevator in my life. I'm sweating. I'm like, my fiance Nazara was like, you're fully, I'm having like anxiety from being in a fucking elevator. Anyways, I blamed it on her and got a refund, but it was wild.
Yeah.
Do you
was
feel
like,
like
yeah.
getting sober, you're like, oh, I have all these new fears because I was just like I was
numbing.
Possibly.
Yeah.
It possibly was like I wasn't there at all, but also I think there's something insane about just like realizing it's something, oh my God, this is gonna sound so corny, but like the closer I get, the further I fall in love, the more I'm like, this life needs to be held on to because I need to
oh, that's very sweet.
you know, you're like, oh fuck, I gotta be here. 'cause
I
you
know.
found something important. It's wild.
I used to watch horror movies all the time.
Yep.
And now I'm starting to get like little, like we just saw Furiosa, which is not a horror movie. It's
that
not even
the-
a thriller. It's an action movie. and there was a lot of crashing around, and I was kind of like, and then we got home, my fiance was like, oh, we should watch the first one, and I was like, it's too much for me.
Yeah, no, it's like we should watch
Too much
Finding
for me?
Nemo. We should watch
literally.
Shrek again. What do you mean?
We do watch Shrek.
I feel like
yeah.
there is too. It's like more stability getting older, but I'm like, I love the like, and being sober, I'm like, I have completely gone back to like, what was I doing before I was drinking? What did I like? And I'm like, oh, I liked to run around outside.
Yeah.
So what do I do now with
Did
sobriety?
you start drinking in middle school?
No, I started.
Sorry, that was supposed to be a joke, like you're on the playground. Sorry.
No.
Yeah, he said before I started drinking, I was going down the slide constantly.
I remember being birthed and then fucking whiskey. No, it's wild. I feel like there's absolutely something very fun about like getting. Also, I'm like, I've never been married before, and being like gay married has been bizarre because my family was like very religious and they were not happy when I came out.
Yeah.
But they've done a 180. But now
that's
like
nice.
being like getting married, and my fiance's family is Muslim, and we're kind of like both having to go through like a second coming out now that we're getting married, and it does make me want to like go play bubbles, get chalk, and play outside, and just like fucking drink like apple juice out of a like sucky straw. I don't know what that is.
I totally.
But
get
I'm
that
like,
feeling,
I feel very like I am 14.
Oh, that is so cool. I'm sorry. I'm reading this book called The Arab is Queer, and then I also read. I am obsessed with other cultures, and what I loved about. I love learning about queer people who are Muslim because it's an Abrahamic religion, and so like it's almost like hearing different sides of the similar story. Is that like a really cool like bonding point with your fiance? Like, since you were raised Christian, do you guys ever like? I know Musa in the Quran is Moses. Do you ever have like those moments of where like there or she's talking about something that you're like, oh, I recognize that. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, we have like there's interesting cultural overlaps. Religiously though is hard because she was raised in such a multiple overlapping cultures with religion being like first generation American, and also like her culture is actually for her to understand which is like a religious thing versus which is a thing because of a nationality and which is like because of race is like so conflated that it is hard to actually pin down which is coming from what. When we discuss specific religious upbringings, what we both overlap in is like feeling that deep shame of being like, fuck, we're not supposed to be doing this in the context of this religious upbringing.
Yeah.
But it is like, you know, I talk, sometimes we'll go back and forth of like, well, Jesus, they're both prophets, right? Jesus and Muhammad, they're prophets. And both of us not really knowing what a prophet is. We're both dumb. I'm like, how do we figure this out? You know what I mean? You're like fascinating. You're both
You don't know Jesus.
Yes. Oh, good.
Yeah,
Prophet. We're both Googling prophet. We're like, huh? You know what I mean? It's interesting. But also like the amount of like, in Christianity, so much of it is like monetized and profited and putting Jesus's face on stuff. And then in Islam, it is like haram to put a face on a t-shirt. Like you don't put anyone's face. There is no depiction of what Muhammad looks like because that is like haram. They're like, we don't fucking do that. So like, it's interesting to be like, everything I owned from like middle school had a cross or Jesus's face on it. And my fiance being like, that's crazy.
Yeah.
It's wild.
It's really that is wild. I didn't know that, but that's so interesting.
Yeah.
I love learning about the Abrahamic religions because it's like you could see the also influence of white supremacy on Christianity. Like, it's monetized. Where like Islam, Muslim, the diaspora is like in the Middle East, and then Judaism is a closed religion, and so like you can see like the effect of it's really interesting.
Yeah,
it
is.
This is so weird.
You would love to hang out
I
with
would
my
love
fiance
to talk
and
to
I
your
talking.
fiance.
Yeah.
Because I read so much stuff for Arab American Heritage Month. Like I read like 8 books, and so like I am dying to talk to a queer Jewish person or a Muslim person because I want to hear their interpretation of stories that I'm very familiar with, like growing up, but like it's almost like talking to your cousin about like what they heard about the family drama.
Yes.
And so, you know, and
from
so
the other side, from the other family.
Yeah, because like I've read so many books, I'm like, well, that's so similar. But like I read this book, oh my God, it's like, but the person, Hijab Butch Blues. Have you read that?
I haven't.
Okay, so it's like, you know, the Stone Butch Blues?
Yes.
It's the Muslim version of it. And so they were talking about like their butchness, but also reconnecting to Islam. But like I've never heard anyone talk about like queerness and religion together so gently,
Yeah.
lovingly.
Yes.
And so it's interesting to hear other people, like, because Christianity, like, almost repulses me, you know what I mean?
For sure.
So, like, to hear someone so lovingly refer to an Abrahamic religion and link it to their queerness,
Incredible.
crazy.
I
So-
would love to read that.
Yeah, you should read it. Hijab Witch Blues is so good.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
Yes. No, it is beautiful. It's such a pull. I think a lot of people, when you talk about queerness and religion, it is one or the other.
Yeah.
So to hear that there's a book where that is gently talked about, I would fucking eat that shit up.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for
Thank you.
coming on our show.
Oh my God, we
I could just do
covered
this
a
for
lot.
hours.
We did.
We
went
burned
everywhere.
through a lot of topics. Dinosaur bones, my gym teacher, comedy, the internet, and then religion.
Ended on religion.
Wait, I'm sorry. You said you were married, but also your fiance?
No, sorry, we're getting married.
Okay,
I've
yeah.
not been married. I will be married.
Okay. So is, I was going to talk about, so is Kendahl.
I'm getting married. But not in. Well, we got engaged on Christmas Day of 2023.
Yeah.
But we're gonna get married. I think in November of 2025.
Okay.
Next year.
It's hard to find time for a wedding. I'm like, what?
That's crazy.
Everyone keeps saying, well, when are you getting married? And we're like, when the fuck are we gonna do that?
Yeah.
Are you doing like a wedding?
Yeah. Small.
It's a
but
lot.
yeah, we're
Yeah.
getting married in like Woodland Hills. Oh my God. It's going to be wild. Wait, what's your fiance do?
They're a comedian as well. Their name's Jordan Myrick. Do you know Jordan Myrick? They're like they do some stand up.
I'm a comedian too.
Wait, can I?
Fucking crazy. Are we engaged? Imagine.
They did stand up in New York for a really long time.
Fucking wild.
And now they're on the internet as well.
Oh, wow.
Wait, can I brag about my partner?
Yeah.
Please.
My partner's
They play the saxophone.
They do,
That's
but
hot.
they're playing with the orchestra soon. But they do EDM, so they do drum and bass with saxophone,
Oh my God.
and so they're playing with the orchestra, like the opera. Sorry, and then now they also have a couple EDM shows coming up.
What?
Yeah.
There
You
go.
guys are so cool. This podcast is awesome. Thank you
Jordan
for
is
having
really
me.
cool.
Jordan's
That's my fiance.
Jordan
I
rocks.
said that.
Shout out Jordan. Shout out Saxophone EDM. Thanks for having me on.
my
This
God,
was
of
so
course.
fun. I appreciate you guys.
Oh my God, we appreciate you.
It was so fun.
I love gay people.
Hang out,
Please,
also?
yeah, please, yeah. I'm in the valley.
Do you have anything you want to plug?
Oh, watch my special called Gay Fantasies. It's on wherever. Just type it in. You'll find it. Also, my podcast, Two Dykes and a Mic, is weekly. You would love it if you like gay stuff. And you can follow me at Rachel Scanlon Comedy. I post a bunch of stuff that I hope you like. And thanks for having me on here.
Isn't it nice to feel, you've made it when you can be like, look it up, you'll find it. I feel like it used to be like, if you want it, just reach out to me and I'm going to send you a
I'll
link.
send you the link.
And then it's going to ask for a password and I'm going to give you that password. And then you have to pay a fee. And it's so nice.
That's
You've
so
really made it. You just get to search it and then there it is.
You guys, we've
Gay
all
fantasy.
done it.
We've all done it. But speaking of doing it, fill out the Patreon form before you guys go. And also follow and like our podcast as well. If you're on YouTube, like, subscribe, comment, fill out the form. Spotify, Apple Podcasts, make sure to rate us 5 stars. We're both on Instagram. We also have a TikTok and an Instagram. Follow it there. Thank you, guys.
Go. I hope you wrote that down.
Amazing.
Have a wonderful day. Happy Wednesday.
All right, bye, guys.
Bye.